social media app TikTok has released its 2023 content analysis for South African creators. Now, the Year on TikTok campaign is based on internal research and trends analysis conducted from January to October. The social media app is one of the fastest growing in the country with over 11 million active users, and that's at least according to data by ByteDance. So let's review the year on TikTok with Head of Content Operations for Sub-Saharan Africa, Biancas. Bia, also joining us is SA travel vlogger extraordinaire. Those are my words. Poppy Sibia, who's with us also via our video link today. And I'll just say from the jump, guys, good morning. Welcome to the AM Report, that there's no relation, right, with the two Sibias on the AM Report today. I think that's just one.
We were actually talking about that right now. We're not related, but we should be.
Indeed, you should be. At least you have something else in common outside of your surnames, and that's your appreciation of the impact that TikTok has made. So, Bianca, let me begin with you. Help us just understand what this Year on TikTok campaign is all about and what exactly you're looking to gauge in your analysis.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So, we are reflecting on the year. Everybody's closing down shop. And as a business, TikTok really tries to reflect on what happened over the past year. So you mentioned that obviously the analysis is pulled between January and the end of October. So we look at things like, what are the trends that most of the community really enjoyed? What are the types of sounds that they really enjoyed? Who were the creators that they really celebrated in terms of content that was produced on the app? And how do we revisit those moments this time of the year so we can celebrate it in true TikTok style? So Year on TikTok is essentially a celebration of all the amazing stories that were told from South Africa, as well as those that traveled globally. And it's such a great initiative because it allows us to really capture the power of the community, the fact that it's so inclusive and that it stretches beyond borders. So we're very excited to be able to showcase exactly what really blew the lights out for this particular year.
Yeah, and I suppose there's no better person to tell us about that experience than Poppy herself, who joins us as well for this conversation. And Poppy, you mentioned under the Breakthrough Stars category for Year on TikTok. And what a year it's been for you. I'm struggling to find the next question because so much has actually taken place. But let's just begin with how you're taking stock of the past couple of months, especially when it comes to the kind of opportunities that this platform has been able to afford yourself.
Yes, it's been quite a year indeed, Ayanda. And I really enjoyed this year. I actually... I just decided to go for it this year and post everything and just release organic, authentic content, and it really paid off. So I'm really happy about that. Yeah.
Let's take a couple of steps back. I mean, you must have had to kind of grapple with a couple of decisions before taking what I think was a leap of faith, right? So you had what people consider to be a relatively stable job in corporate South Africa, and you decided that you're going to tour parts of Africa and document all of it on TikTok. Why specifically that platform? Because you're spoiled for choice, let's face it, and there are several other platforms that could have assisted you tell the story.
Yeah. So I do also tell the story on Instagram, but I wanted to expand my reach. So I felt that my story, road trip from South Africa to Ghana, was quite a compelling, exciting story, inspiring story. So I thought, let me hop on TikTok as well so that I can expand my reach. And I think another thing that helped was that I created a show called The Poppy Show. So instead of just posting random videos without like a sort of I wanted a theme, an umbrella, something that people could go back to and search. And I think that was very helpful in terms of having a narrative.
Yeah, because ultimately we're telling a story, Bianca, aren't we? And there are just so many different stories that exist on places like TikTok. Speak to us a bit more about those trends that you alluded to. I mean, who is on TikTok, generally speaking, and what are they talking about? Because it seems like there's everything.
There is everything. And I think it's important for your viewers to also understand that, even if there's even an ounce of hesitancy around, I wouldn't go on TikTok because I don't have the capabilities that Poppy does. It is a platform for anybody of any age. So some of the trends that we've seen this year, sure, it's so varied. I think the ones that I'll call out is the what we call TikTok That's How. It's a DIY niche that we developed because we understood that South Africans love to be able to learn how to do things better in their home. So we looked at a really great campaign called TikTok That's How, where we actually built a commercial, which launched early on this year. And it really showcased all the incredible hacks. You know, we love to be able to look at opportunities to improve our lives, given the current circumstances. So simple things like what happens during load shedding when you have people coming over for dinner. The advert actually gave you really great access to how to manage that. Some of the other trends that have transcended globally, you know, also off the back of the creators who develop content within South Africa, is Beauty Talk. So that is essentially looking at, you know, beauty enthusiasts who cover things like makeup, hair, tutorials, etc., and really showcase their expertise in things like skincare routines, makeup tutorials, product reviews, and also the natural beauty and diversity in skin tones, which we really, really found traveled globally. The other one, of course, which we love, is food talk. You know, South Africans love to eat. We gained a lot of attention from the creators that develop content on the platform to look at incredible recipes from traditional foods to fusion foods and all sorts of delicacies. We even saw pop trending on the platform globally, which is fantastic. So in the narrative of storytelling, it's about then saying, you know, anybody can be a storyteller. It's just about identifying what do you want to talk about on the platform and start to develop your community around it. So much like Poppy, she decided that she wants to talk about travel from South Africa to Ghana, and she developed a format that really worked for her, and she created a community around that. So with each issue that she produced and published on the app, her fans and her following started going on their journey with her. So again, it's about understanding that the platform's for everybody. It's just about identifying what you want to tell.
Yeah.
That the world can enjoy your content.
Absolutely. Well, Bianca, I'll tell you what, we didn't just go on this journey with Poppy. We held our breaths and paid to the heavens at many stages that at the very least she gets to the next show. But you speak about community, and Poppy, I'm so interested to find out what kind of community TikTok has built for you, not only from fellow users, and by that I mean other content creators who I'm sure some have reached out, but, you know, just ordinary people who feel that you are part of their lives, quite frankly, because of just how open and genuine you have been about your experience.
So TikTok has built the type of community of people who are inspired by my travels and would also like to travel the way I do, which is budget travel, road travel, and a lot of popsicles, that's my online community, have reached out to me via DM, and they like, Pops, next time you travel, you just have to take us with you. Pops, I'd love what you're doing. I'm just a bit scared, or I was scared, but now I've seen that it can be done. I've seen that the world can be a safe place for a solo woman traveler, and I also want to hop on and do it.
Yeah, but I'm sure, Poppy, you must have had your own reservations, right? I mean, it's great to be able, with the benefit of hindsight, to speak about the great successes that have come from this. But, yeah, take us through some of the thoughts that you had, perhaps the inhibitions, the concerns. What did your family say?
So my family has always been supportive from the start. My parents believe that if you want to do something, you have to do it. So that in life, later in life, you don't resent them for never having followed your dreams. But my only reservation was probably, you know, how will I make money from the travels? I didn't think the show would be as big as it was and as well received financially as it was. So the show has always been well received in terms of engagement, views, shares, etc. But last season, so my first attempt wasn't as profitable as this attempt, and I actually struggled financially last season. So I thought this season I might struggle again, but I was more hopeful this season and more confident, and it paid off.
Yeah. What would you say changed this time around?
I think my attitude towards selling exclusive content on Instagram Close Friends changed. I marketed Instagram Close Friends more and with more confidence this season. And I didn't give away a lot of free content this season the way I did last season, trying to get people to watch the content, trying to get people to understand the content, accept the content. I just went ahead and sold the content from the get-go. and I made my audience get used to paying for the content. And that paid off.
Sure. Wow, what a success story. I think you can give a couple of people some advice, including, dare I say, some news outlets, right? Because, Bianca, part of the things that we grapple with is accepting that South Africans just sometimes don't like paying for content. You know, there's this belief that, you should be entitled to information, and in many ways there are very interesting ethical and moral questions that we grapple with as newsmakers. But on TikTok, I'm sure you're asking yourself similar questions, right? At which point do we make people pay for this in an attempt to ensure that this is also a kind of sustainable income-generating platform for people who pour so much of themselves onto TikTok?
Yeah, look, I think evaluating ways for our creators to be able to grow their communities becomes kind of the first step in terms of how we invest in the ecosystem. And with that also means creators then understanding, how do I develop a proposition that makes it compelling enough for somebody to want to pay for my content, right? And I think in the experience of Poppy, she developed a frame that really worked for what she wanted to tell as a storyline. And because there was so much content that she was developing in her journey that people wouldn't have necessarily seen anywhere else, the opportunity for her to monetize that content, it was made perfect sense, right? So in that, it's also then understanding, the different paywalls that she made as a decision to put behind that content, to charge for users to be able to consume that content. It really is up to her business model to decide, right? And in, I guess, the broader community speaking in terms of how monetization tools are utilized for creators on the platform, again, it's about deciding what do you want to give away for free versus what you want users to be able to pay for. And if you're creating authentic, original pieces of content that's not available anywhere else, trust me, people will pay for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Poppy's own experience bears witness to that. I'm sure you hate this question by now, Poppy. That doesn't mean I'm not going to ask it. What next?
Okay. Ooh. Next, I'm headed to Asia. So yeah, I want to. I actually lived in China as a teacher, English teacher, and now I want to go back. And I'm saying I want to go back to Laugh, where I cried. So I didn't enjoy teaching English in China, but I really enjoyed China itself. So now I want to go to China as a tourist, as a businesswoman, not a teacher, not employed in China. And I want to explore every nook and cranny of the country. And I want to showcase it to the popsicles. All
right. Hopefully we'll get the first trailer here on the AM Report, given the interest you've been able to amass. And Bianca, I think a similar question could be asked to TikTok, right? It feels like everything has been done, but I think it was Nelson Mandela who said something along the lines of, every time you summit one mountain, you realize there are many other mountains to be summited. And I wonder if that's a similar sentiment that TikTok is currently sharing, right? This feeling that there's still so much more to be done.
Absolutely. And in the growth of the platform, there's 1.8 billion people on it at the moment. How do we make sure that we are embracing the creativity that comes out of South Africa? How are we creating opportunities for creators to actually make more than what they're doing at the moment, so that they can showcase their work to the world and their creativity to the world? So much like Poppy, who's managed to create a property that is now traveling, so to speak, in the app to users across the globe. It's then also unlocking further opportunities and also looking at the tools that we're designing that sits within the app that allows the creatives to be able to explore themselves even more. I think creativity is unmatched. There's so much opportunity. It's just about identifying how is the best way that we can show up as a platform business to be able to give these creators the opportunity to express themselves, no matter which age or race they are. And how do they take that as part of their own business, right? Because we also understand that creatives are businesses, they're business owners, and they form part of the creative economy. So we are here to help them in that journey. So in the evolution of 2024 and beyond, it's about creator growth, it's about content growth, it's about safer community usage on the platform, and taking Africa to the world.
Absolutely. It's amazing just reflecting on what platforms like this have been able to do for many people who not only consume the content but create the content, at least over the past 10 years or so. Biancas, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Bianca is the head of content operations for Sub-Saharan Africa on TikTok, and no relation Poppy Sibiya is a travel vlogger who, of course, shares some of the content on TikTok, amongst other places. To both of you ladies, thanks very much indeed for your time.